Hey, Sagittarians. Let's go ahead and jump on in, Sag, to what I'm calling the message for right now, or the urgent message, just meaning something right now in this timeline. What's the heads up for Sag? Now, Saggies, I'm going to try really hard to get you guys another message tomorrow that'll be the what's on their mind. That's the message you guys were supposed to get today, but normally I'll do like all 13 zodiacs and they all get the same topic and then we move to the next topic. Well, I kind of broke my stride because I really wanted to do this today. Don't ask me why, but here we are. So we have a King of the Blues, which is King of Cups. We have a Five of Cups. We have the Six of Wands, and we have the Nine of Wands. Well, it looks like somebody is feeling some kind of sorrow as they watch and weep over Sag. Sag seems to be doing really well, except somewhere hidden inside, we do have, Sag externally looks to, everyone who sees them looks really, really happy. But it does say Sag has still been healing. And they seem to be like full of love, but really having a deeper and profound regret. They may be surrounded by things right now that are making them sad. Now, this could be someone external to Sag. It doesn't mean that this is like a lover. The heads up here, King of Swords here. Hang on, we're bringing in an awful lot of people. I'm getting this vibe right now that Magician in the reverse. We've got a lot of fronting going on, okay? And there could be something here where this is just the heads up that there is somebody who loves Sag who's still very lost without Sag. Even if Sag themselves is saying, I'm great, I'm good, I'm bold, I'm fabulous, and I'm moving on. Met this awesome King of Swords, rocking it, feeling terrific. The only thing is we don't have full power, meaning we're not really manifesting authentically. So there could be a hidden wound that is still being carried. And so maybe there's closure that still hasn't occurred. Let me ask more precisely, what is the heads up for Sag? Is this a realization about what Sag is still dealing with? We have Queen of Wands upright. We have Eight of Swords. I would say this, Sag has moved on like 99.9%. But I'm going to say that King of Cups has not. And I'm going to say they are the ones who still want closure, need closure. They're still very stuck on Sag. The only thing is, I don't know that Sag is really that into another suitor, because it does feel like Sag has a King of Swords that's entering their life. Frankly, I think Sag could have just about anybody in this room that they wanted. I don't know if Sag is going to be attending a social event where there's a lot of other, very nicely dressed, potential romantic partners. But you notice how Sag is not really paying attention to them. So here's what I would say. No matter where Sag is, no matter how far in the past this King of Cups is, I would say Sag and this King of Cups both still have a bond here that is not completely severed, maybe because there wasn't really closure. And at this point in time, the heads up in this storyline for our Sag is that they are still very tethered to Saggy's energy. So try as Sag might, that could explain why Sag isn't 100% like jumping in with that new King of Swords, why their energy isn't 100% up to snuff, because they're like, I'm only 99.99% completely over this. There's this little fraction of me that is having trouble moving into the next commitment, the next relationship. I'm not sitting around crying over my ex. No, but the ex is holding on to Sag. Okay, so what does that mean for Sag? Let's go over here. I love this deck so much. Knight of Wands, Seven of Cups, Two of Wands. What it means for Sag is that I don't know if Sag remembers the, kissing that King of Cups lips, or if that King of Cups spends a lot of time projecting that energy of, but I still want you, Sag, and I still love you, Sag, and I wish that I could still, at least slip away and have one last night with you. Even if you're leaving me, I wonder if you would if you would be okay with that. I wonder if you would want to have one goodbye fling before we close the door. Like, and it kind of looks like Sag is possibly thinking the same thing somewhere in the way back. Because I'm hearing, give me just one more night. Give me one more night. Phil Collins, right? Seven of Wands. Sag is like, no, I'm not thinking that. I am not wishing for one more night with them. I don't want that. It kind of feels like we have an internal struggle. And I'm not saying Sag wants to get back with them. It almost feels like this is more of a carnal moment where it's like, I can't help it. They still are a lover that I would like to have one more, energetic night with. But maybe it's because it's what they are wishing they could have. They obviously still are stuck on Sag. They are still in love with Sag. They are missing Saggy's voice and Saggy's, warmth and all of that. Maybe this is a scenario where things ended so abruptly that it was like, how can this be the detachment? It just stopped, and I'm not able to not think of you in my arms. It can't end like this. Like, that's how this feels. Like Sag and this person are both saying, but it can't end this way. Can it? Like, how do we? It almost seems like these two are really struggling to let each other go. And I actually think Sag is too, even though Sag is not longing for them, there's more of like a passionate energy of maybe I could still have some, passionate night with them, or, but Five of Swords says, this is so frustrating. I think what we're seeing is, because there's still desire on both parts, no less. But then Sag is like fighting with himself, saying, but this isn't any good for me. And it pisses me off that I would even entertain the idea of them being, my lover. I'm not longing for them. I don't even think that we're good together. But for some reason, I still want them. Or I want some part of them, or they are projecting that onto me, that they still want me. Can I just ask this? Is there a reason that these two couldn't actually make something work? Because I'm a little confused if Sag really doesn't want this person, or if they're like, look, we don't get along well, but they are a really great kisser. So yes, I'm sorry, miss them. And things didn't end perfectly with us. We have an Eight of Wands. We have the Nine of Cups. This could indicate that Sag is like, look, what I became clear about is that they can be selfish. They can be self-indulgent and selfish. They're going to look out for number one first. And that's why I don't want to pick this as my person, because I saw it. I recognized it. There was that bullseye. Yeah, Queen of Cups sideways. I do think that Sag actually kind of fell out of love with somebody because they came across as selfish. That King of Cups, who should be all, open-hearted and everything, it may be, and maybe they're more open-hearted now. Maybe they are less selfish now, but I don't know for sure. All we can see is that even if Sag said they were selfish, I couldn't rely on them to really be partnering with me, because they were always about number one. They were always about them first. And that was a real turnoff to me. I could still say there's a lot of good about them, and I do love them in some way, but it was also a big turnoff. Okay, so there's something here where Sag, I really think, says, I don't want a partner like that, but I can't help it. Maybe I would still want him as a lover, at least for right now. So what is the best route for these characters to maybe either get closure, or we have Six of Wands, which again, Sag is over there in a Six of Wands energy right at the beginning of this. Now this could be them wanting the Six of Wands. Four of Cups. Maybe these two just need to have a conversation about, here's the thing. There's a lot about you that I absolutely adored, but it's ridiculous to think that we would be compatible in the long term. But you know what? You are not somebody that's a villain. You're not somebody that I never want to talk to again. It could even be that these two, instead of trying to cut each other out of one another's lives, maybe these two are going to find a different path where they are. It could even cool down to where it's like they're not even attracted to each other, but maybe they're friends. And it's like, oh no, we tried being together once upon a time, and then we were like, oh, that's not going to work. But somehow it was still kind of a bond. And honestly, instead of saying I can never see them again, I that's just not the road we took. I kind of feel like this passion that these two still have, the attraction, will dwindle once it no longer feels like they're having to stay away from each other. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm explaining that very well. I almost feel like there's more desire between the two of them when they're saying, okay, we've discovered or Sag certainly said, I don't want to be with this person. They're not my forever person. So I'm going to stop seeing them. Fine. But then I still have this kind of like lusty energy for them. But I almost think that if Sag and this person spent time around each other still, instead of trying to like break up and never talk again, they would probably either annoy each other enough or be like, oh my God, attraction is over. You're still not a bad person, but we ain't it, babe. I feel like the illusion would be broken through. Sometimes instead of trying to stay away from a person that we know we're not going to end up with, it means maybe we don't need to cut them out of our lives. Maybe we need to like allow ourselves to shift gears and, the more we're around each other, the more the illusion wears off. And also there's none of that like taboo that creates the longing and the, perpetual, like, I don't know what to do with this. It almost feels like they're gonna, High Priestess. I feel like these two are maybe meant to be in each other's worlds, but in a different capacity. I don't think that they're good as a couple, or they don't think that they're good as a couple. I mean, what the heck do I know? But they've said, certainly Sag has said, that's not my person. But I'm having a hard time completely cutting them out of my life because there is some role that they still play in my life. And maybe that's just it. Maybe these two will always continue to play a role in each other's lives, but that category that they fit into will change over time. And right now think of it this way. If you're driving down the road and it's time to change lanes, you don't just go, whoop, lane change. If you do that, you're probably going to create an accident. What you do is you turn on your blinker. You check your rear view. You check your side. Check your other side. You check your rear view. You look over and then you start to migrate. You don't just veer the wheel. You have to prepare and then you have to migrate across. That's maybe a better way to describe how this relationship shifts gears. They've made the decision it's time to change lanes, but you just don't do it instantly or you're going to crash out. Instead, okay, we're not it, are we? No, we're not. But you know what? Let's still be around each other. And honestly, there might still be some passion that we share a little bit as we're detaching from each other and we're turning on the blinker and we're kind of, maybe we're still spending some time together because I like you and you like me and you're not a villain, but we do get under each other's skin. And honestly, bit by bit, that passion's going to cool off. And then we're really going to be able to say, we have officially moved into a different lane. There's no love. There's no romance. There's no mixed feelings anymore. We're actually over each other, but now we're moving in the friendship lane. It almost feels like, I know this is an unconventional story, but this is what we have on this. And I'm just going to say, maybe that's the way this one has to go. Maybe that's why there's this longing and this energy still, because it's like trying to do cold turkey on this one is not really what either one wants. Nor are they necessarily ever going to be great together, but they're not villains to each other. So it's an interesting story because I think it's kind of nice to see that characters could say, look, I still care about you, even if I know you're not the one for me, but I also can't just pretend that there's no attraction. I need a little time to get over what I know we're not going to have. But I also don't want to turn us into villains for each other when that's not what we are. Little unconventional, but maybe also a little bit more realistic with how things can slowly shift gears a bit. All right. Anyway, we tell the stories here that I get, good, bad, or ugly. As always, I'm a fictional storyteller. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Sag, this is your second video of the week. I always try to give every zodiac at least two. If you missed your first message, I will try to remember to put it right there in the link, or excuse me, on your screen, so it'll pop up right about now. But thank you guys so much. Lots of love. Bye for now.